Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
The final answer to the Frank Sutton mysteries and isn't good. The birth of Frank Sutton on. October 23rd, Frank Spencer Sutton, Clarksville, Tennessee, in 1923. Increasing Sutton was born during the Great Depression, showed a keen interest in performing art from a young age. While in high, he showed up in the student local theater and plays, where it became clear that they were passionate about performing. In spite of financial difficulties, he stayed dedicated to pursuing his goal of becoming a professional performer. Following graduation, he graduated from East Nashville High School, followed his dream by enrolling at the University of Columbia in New York City. There, he graduated with a drama major liad. His commitment to the art was apparent from the beginning, and his scholarly accomplishments highlighted his profound dedication to one's own development and excellence. But, like a lot of young men of his generation, the life of Frank Sutton was significantly influenced by the occurrences of World War II. Following the Pearl Harbor assault, Sutton tried to join Harbor in the United States Marine Corps, but was turned down since I am colorblind. Despite this, he enlisted in the U.S. Army and Distinguished Service in the Pacific Theater. Being a part of the 293rd Joint, he took part in Assault Signal Company, in 14 landings for assaults, including the Lee and Luzon invasions in the Philippines. His time in the military gave him a strong feeling of discipline and a sense of national pride that would later have an impact on the characters he depicted on screen. He became A of Sergeant and had a commendable dismissal. Following the conflict, an encounter that gained him the respect of his peers for all time, both fans and veterans. Once again, after the war, Sutton went back to acting. Career with a fresh sense of resolve. He was a theater and television artist. During the 1950s, acquiring a repute as a character with versatility performer. Among his first TV appearances were positions on shows like The Edge of the United States Steel Hour and Night. Among his best-known early films roles in 1955, when he made an appearance with Academy Award winner Ernest Borg in Marty, a well-regarded four-time Oscar-winning picture, including Greatest Image. Despite the fact that Sutton played a supporting part, his performance was beneficial. Solidify his reputation in Hollywood as a serious performer. In spite of his early achievement, Sutton discovered his actual achievement in the 1960s, when he was cast in the spin-off Goomer Pyle USMC Sergeant from the Andy Griffith show Vince Carter. Sutton portrayed the rough drill instructor who is always frustrated by the well-intentioned but incompetent Private Jim Neighbors' portrayal of Goomer Pyle. The rapport that exists between Sutton and the neighbors were lively, and their on-screen interaction took front stage of the performance. The audiences were enthralled by Sutton's skill at blending harsh authority with vulnerable moments as well as humor. His depiction made the quintessential military man, exposing facets of commitment, compassion, and perhaps love beneath his blustery exterior of character. The program broadcast between 1964 and 1969 and became a cultural phenomena that attracts millions of viewers every week. Sutton's performance earned him a spot in the history of television, and his slogans, particularly the booming peal, joined the group of American terms used in popular culture. Sutton is more than just a comic counterpoint, provided a feeling of reality and genuineness in his work. Definitely, drawing from his personal military background, his interpretation struck a chord with the audience, both citizens and members, which makes him a cherished character in a turbulent time. The Vietnam War left its imprint and changed opinions of the military. Following Sutton, Goomer Pyle, USMC and kept up their work in television, theater, as well as advertisements. He frequently took in cameos on well-known programs such as The Gunsmoke, Twilight Zone, and The Untouchables, and appreciate American fashion, demonstrating his breadth of drama. Even so, he never attained the same degree of fame in the days of Goomer Pyle. Sutton continued to be a well-liked and respected actor among his contemporaries. When he was older, he concentrated more on performing and stage work at dining establishments and local productions all around the nation, where he kept audiences entertained with his endless enthusiasm and charm. Following Goomer Pyle, the well-known sitcom USMC ceased manufacturing in 1969. Following 5 prosperous seasons, Frank Sutton was still a well-known figure on American television, in particular through his ongoing career connection to Jim, his former co-star Neighbors. Then Sutton changed into a consistent participation in the Jim Neighbors Hour, a variety show with musical comedy that was broadcast from 1969 to 1971 on CBS. This performance was a departure from the Goomer Pyle military environment, giving viewers a chance to admire the amazing singing of your neighbors, in addition to comedic sketches that kept the humor and charm of the previous sitcom. Sutton and another Goomer Pyle one important contributor was Alum Ronnie Shell to the humorous parts of the show, frequently showing up in comedic skits that shone his precise timing and expressive spectrum. In these drawings, Sutton often depicted the neighbor's brother-in-law's personality, letting him play off, once again, Neighbor's friendlier and more innocent demeanor, similar to his relationship with the character of the Goomer Pyle. But this new circumstance allowed Sutton more leeway to examine various comedic tenors, frequently focusing on situational or domestic humor as opposed to military rigidity. His performances revealed his adaptability and capacity to changes smoothly alternating between strict responsibilities as well as more playful, family humor. The presence of Sutton at the Jim Neighbors Hour contributed to keeping the powerful fan following that he had amassed while Goomer Pyle USMC, as well as the program had positive scores throughout its 3-season run, partly due to Sutton's excellent comic rapport with Shell and the neighbors. Outside of Sutton extended his acting career and television repertoire through exploring live theater, especially in the widely used style of the dinner theater industry, which thrived in the 1970s. He was able to connect more at this location closely with viewers and present his abilities in a live environment apart from the limitations of television scripts as well as shooting schedules. One of the several roles that he performed on stage, including most noteworthy roles were as the In Norman, Is That You, a Father, innovative comedy by Ron Clark and Bowbry, Sam. The drama addressed themes of tension between generations and homosexuality, a daring topic for its day, and Sutton needed to have both comedic flair and tremendous depth of feeling. His depiction of the confused but eventually affectionate father gave viewers a preview of his capacity to provide authenticity and susceptibility to an element that additionally needed keen senses of humor. His stage work was frequently hailed by critics, pointing out that his enthusiasm and charm translated really well to the personal, interactive setting of theater for dinner. Along with his work Frank on the stage and Neighbors show, additionally, Sutton appeared as a guest on a range of more television shows in the 1970s. These positions permitted for him to escape the typecasting that occasionally came after his famous Sergeant Vince Carter's portrayal. He had roles in dramatic television shows and sitcoms, exhibiting a variety of that startled viewers who were mainly knew him because he was a soldier. Whether it's in criminal dramas or programs for anthologies or family series, Sutton added a unique level of intensity and expertise to every position. His outward look allowed him to keep a steady visibility in the public eye and confirmation. His standing in the entertainment industry as a trustworthy and skilled actor in a character. During this time. During his career, Frank Sutton persisted in being respected by viewers as well as his colleagues for his unwavering dedication to work, commitment to his work, as well as his aptitude to play any part, whether humorous or dramatic, seem genuine, and stick in your memory. His post-gaming Pyle years were a reflection of adaptability and a commitment to developing as an actor, safeguarding his reputation not only as an iconic figure on television, but as a dynamic and successful performer throughout various media. Frank Sutton married Toby M. in 1946. Eagler is a gifted and driven woman. He would later become well known for herself as a television writer, business, especially in the field of soap operas. Their marriage signified the start of a long-term collaboration that would withstand the numerous highs and Sutton's acting career's worst points. Hey Toby, who was passionate about reading and narrative, which brought both emotional intellect and depth of thought to their connection. Her efforts in writing for television needs a creative perseverance, mental toughness, and discipline, traits that were similar to Sutton's method of acting. The pair provided assistance, same goals for their careers, with Toby frequently providing useful comments on Frank's performances and career choices, and Frank in turn offering support and appreciation for her ability to write. Together, they created a secure and caring household even because Frank's work frequently required him to trip or put in a lot of overtime on set. They had 2 kids, Joseph Joe, a son 1951-born Sutton, and his daughter, Sutton, Amanda. Joe would adhere to an artistic journey akin to that of his parents, being a skilled dramatist and professor of drama. His creations frequently examined strong human emotions and societal difficulties, and he gave a lot of credit to his creative awareness of the family where he grew up. A house brimming with passion for the arts, critical analysis, as well as expressive liberty. Vord, Joe's most famous play Broadway produced and distributed Dear Dot, with racial injustice concerns in the courtroom, receiving praise by critics and indicating the type of stacked narrating that both of his parents. Thank you. Even nevertheless, Amanda Sutton stayed more private rather than pursuing a public throughout her artistic career. She was a significant family member and a source of strength and consistency. Family life was very significant to Frank, whose tough and frequently rough television character was a profoundly kind and committed spouse and dad. In talks and interviews with co-workers, Sutton frequently communicated with pride in the intelligence of his wife and his kids' accomplishments, highlighting that his greatest life accomplishment was not sergeant's. Regarding Goomer, Vince Carter Pyle, USMC, but a father's perspective and husband. The union of Frank and Toby lived till his premature passing in 1974, evidence of their close relationship and regard for one another. Toby never got married again, and during the years after Frank's death, she continued tenaciously defending his legacy, making certain that his contributions to his recollection of American television as a devoted family man were remembered. Their long-lasting bond was founded on love, inventiveness, and common principles remained, a lasting legacy for their offspring as well as for people who knew them. For actor, Frank Sutton's admirers for decades were perplexed by the unexpected and sudden demise of the man's life. She is renowned for portraying the irascible but Vince Carter, a charming gunnery sergeant, on Goomer Pyle, the iconic sitcom from the 1960s USMC. Sutton's loud, inflexible voice stance and flawless comedic timing established him as a mainstay in American homes and a popular figure on television. However, in the background, Sutton's private life and premature demise were wrapped together mystery. There were half-truths and rumors, were reiterated, and eventually the information become warped. Currently, with new details and a more distinct image at last, the truth has come to light. Exposed. Furthermore, it's distant from the charming tale that many fans had hoped for. On June 28, 1974, Frank Sutton passed away at only 50 years old, passing away from in his dressing room, a heart attack shortly before his scheduled appearance on stage for a showing of the drama Love in LA's Shreveport. This appeared to many as an unfathomable catastrophe. Sutton possessed always seemed bursting with energy and strength, the epitome of a tough man with a heart. However, in actuality, his health had been slowly decaying, concealed by a rigorous work schedule and a profound commitment to his art. Sutton had lengthily suffered from health conditions that were worsened by years of excessive smoking, inadequate nutrition, and constant stress from both live and on television, theater with little sleep. Despite his seemingly disciplined demeanor and vitality, Sutton had received a warning from physicians regarding his heart health. But he persisted in pushing himself, believing that the show must go on. In fact, many of those closest to him later revealed that he had been ignoring warning signs for years. Frequent chest headache, loss of breath, and spells of tiredness that he would brush off, with his usual strong-eyed demeanor, rather than addressing these health concerns. Seriously, Sutton preferred to conceal them, fearing that revealing weakness could ruin his career or taint his reputation as a forceful, dominating figure. This decision, in hindsight, proved to be tragically fatal. Adding to the grief is the knowledge that Sutton's death may likely have been prevented. Recent interviews and biographers' discovery of papers reveals that Sutton had been recommended to have heart examination and care, although he allegedly put it off several times because of employment commitments and a wish to stay out of the spotlight. The notion of seeming exposed, particularly after depicting a military life that is larger than life sergeant, was something that he genuinely fearful. Unfortunately, this dread prevented him from pursuing the medical measures that could have extended his life. Additionally, his last extreme pressure pervaded the days. Following Gumimer Pyle's conclusion, Sutton looked for to change who he is on stage, keen to demonstrate that he wasn't just a one-note humorous actor. He adopted a demanding jobs in theater, frequently traveling throughout the nation with little sleep. Although viewers were thrilled to see him. Life, Sutton was said to be worn out, putting in long hours and operating in circumstances that placed tremendous stress on his physique. Companions, keep in mind that he was running on pure determination in the days preceding his demise. The heart attack that took his life, it appears that life was the result of years of uncontrolled bodily deterioration and emotional weariness. To make things worse, even worse, his unexpected passing devastated his family and co-workers who are shocked and unprepared. Toby, his spouse, and their 2 kids, Joe Sutton, his son, who would eventually achieve success as a playwright, were inconsolable. They didn't know how severe his health problems have become. His loved ones have since expressed sadness and remorse for not identifying the warning indicators sooner or pressing more firmly to ask for assistance. A bitter what if is all that's left. What if Sutton had gone to the doctor? What if had he slowed down? What if someone had stepped in? In the years after his demise, several fans conjectured about concealed diseases, addictions, or more serious individual challenges. However, the reality is more contemplative and, in many respects, more tragic. One individual named Frank Sutton he put his entire being into each and every he played a part. Frequently at the price of his own health. He was propelled by a must prove himself in order to continue working and to fulfill the demands that come with being famous had been put on him. Ultimately, that extremely motivated, the trait that made him, what made the act so captivating also played a part in his early death. Now that the truth has been revealed and when the mystery is lifted, what's left is not merely grief over a life lost, but also a warning story regarding the risks of disregarding one's health in the quest for achievement. The tale of Frank Sutton serves as a reminder that beyond the giggles and the cheers, even the loudest performers may suffer in silence. In Sutton's instance, the enigma surrounding his passing is more than just tragic. It's a grim lesson that could ultimately lead to closure for his followers, even if it's not the ending they were interested in hearing.